because we,
Exactly like her.
it's exactly like Nicole, because she just
100%.
said to me today, why don't you send her I send her this code. And then
Yeah.
I said, I'll text it to you. And then she says, we talk too much. It'll be way too high up. I won't be able to get it. So I'll send you instructions, an easier way. But anyways, glad to be here. I am Al today. Woo, I'm representing. That's right.
There we go. I'm going to try to adjust my lighting, but I'm not really worried about it. Like I
Just
said to
make you look
Michelle, I've got a
pasty.
new camera on my computer,
Okay.
like an external one, because my on my laptop, my computer wouldn't work for Zoom, but it worked for everything else, everything I
So
Teams.
weird. Yeah.
So weird. So anyway, so we're good now. We're just getting through some techie stuff, but we're here.
Yeah. Perfect.
Michelle
Good.
is all bright and shiny, and I look like I'm 4D. Don't I look like I'm 4D? For like high def type thing?
No,
Look at it.
but you look like you should probably see somebody. You're pretty pale, pale and pasty, right?
Because I've been
Oh,
dead for weeks.
when you get your pennies out, when you lean back, it's not so bright. Where's your light? Where's your light at?
Well, give me yeah, I've got some stuff to do. I've got my little light here.
Oh,
That's
that's
not
actually better.
too dark.
Oh, well, you look good.
Not really.
Stop it. You don't look like you're albino or yeah, like you need a doctor. Either way, we don't care. We're just glad to have you.
Yep.
Exactly. I was like detoxing after not seeing everybody for a week. It was traumatizing last week. Stupid Facebook. Talk about things you can't control. Oh my gosh. Anybody who is usually my friend, which is lots of people that are on this page, I think I was hacked. And I think the hacker was Butt Munch. And I think that's an old word I haven't used since my kids were little. So I think after the said Butt Munch somehow attached a different Instagram account, which I have Instagram, sonyrocks.com, but they attached Austin something, and then they took me down with their ship. So the good news is it's not like, we've all had friends that randomly just go, "Hi Tom, how are you doing?" You say, "Oh, I'm great, Gloria." And then they go, "Have you heard about that new thing through the government where you can get 18 gazillion dollars just for giving me your SIN number and bank account?" Whatever, something. I always have fun. I mess with them. So then I'll be like, "Oh, Gloria, how's Robert?" And then they'll say, "Robert's fine." And then I'll go, "Oh, well, I thought he died last year." Like I just totally
Oh
mess with
no.
them. And then I block them. And some people call that annoying. Some people might call it a sport. So that's not happening to all my friends, which makes
Yeah.
me happy, but I can't Facebook Live. Even when I'm every Monday and every Friday, like every Monday, I do a newsletter, and then every Friday, this is for like my Sonya Rocks group, and then every Friday, I do like a weekly sneak peek just of the weekend, and I can only like so many posts, and then it says you've already liked too many. Like I have these weird, I know, I'm like, do you not know me? I have a lot of love to share. So every day, this is so funny, Tom. Every day I write them a letter. I try to log in and it says, nope, you're banned. I'm down to 170 days. I'm banned. Just so you know, that's almost 6 months on a first offense. I don't know what they think I've done. So I write them a nice uh, message every day using both my languages, English and sarcasm. So the one, I mean, I should really read them back and publish them because the one I'm like, So I didn't know you got banned for being too awesome. Do you get banned for spreading too much joy? What's the violation? I don't know. And I just go on a little rant and then they say, talk to you tomorrow.
Just pretend you're AI, Al.
God, I have to tell you, that's so funny. And my friend Edna, she has an owl as a partner. And I was going to mention that to her too. Is that not messing you up that we see owl everywhere? Because
Oh no, that's funny.
that's so funny, right? Things you don't think of, but it must
Yeah.
be happening to you too because you noticed.
It's, you know what, it's just and we're gonna talk about influencers again, or
Yeah,
influence. Actually, I was thinking this morning, I was thinking with influencer, but then I was like, because we're thinking of a person, but I thought, influencing. There's things it could be by a person, but that person could represent something. And why is it important, right?
right. I just noticed my name, John Allen Moore. Welcome,
You just showed
everyone.
up.
I did.
Yeah.
Find
I
time to
don't know what's going
take
on. There may
notice.
be a wormhole here, and we're in multi universes. And
That
but
wouldn't
anyways,
surprise
I
me.
want to apologize for my rough look. And usually when you come on, like the last little while, so here it's 5 o'clock. I'm just getting home, and I think I said to everybody, like my comfy place is shorts and a t-shirt, chill out. That's good. And I've been
Yep.
really busy the last little while, which is great.
Good.
The For those that care, the coffee market is gonna go through the roof. So
Oh, is it?
I'm
Alec
just
will
giving
care. Alec cares.
coffee lovers a heads up. Um, Coffee green, like the green beans that come from the coffee grown regions, is doubled its cost in the last year, and transportation is horrible. Like shipping containers, we were spending a couple of years ago, mid COVID or whatever, we were spending I think about $16,000 to have containers come up from Brazil, like shipping containers, right?
Yep.
And that went up to over $50,000.
Oh yeah.
So it's just, and if it's right or wrong, it's what it is. So I'm preparing my customers that sell coffee for a living, that the good news now, consumers like you or Al, whoever drinks coffee, doesn't like this. Coffee can say be $10 a pound and go up to $15 a pound, which is like 50% increase, right? And that's like, holy crap. That's like you buying a jug of milk for $7 and now it's 11, right?
Right. Right.
But the cost to put it in a cup still, this is tea. I was gonna make a coffee, I was gonna make a latte. I haven't had one yet today. So the cost to put it in a cup, even if it's $5 a pound, is maybe 10 cents more.
Yeah.
So maybe cheaper for Jimmy's, but it's just it's a world. It'll be interesting what happens with. I was talking to somebody today who says, like, is coffee going up because of the tariffs from the States? And I said, there's no tariffs. There's talk of tariffs.
Yeah,
That's
I agree. That's just
yeah. So
yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
yeah. Part of what it is the globally U.S. dollar is king, right? It's I understand that, right?
Yep.
So, but anyways, yeah. So I've been like dealing with that, and in the midst of it, I brought a whole bunch of new customers.
Oh,
But you know
good.
what? I'm totally upfront and say, okay, I'm going to tell you now. Here's some pricing for now, based on volume. If you need, whatever. But it's going to go up next couple of weeks. We're going to be 30-day notice.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now. And you know what? They go, you're at least being honest, right?
Oh,
So
for sure. You don't want that phone call,
yeah.
right?
So saying that, going back to influencer, coffee is an influencer in the world. Unfortunately, good and bad. Cheers.
Cheers. I got nothing. I got
Yeah,
nothing. I got
I
some
can send you
water
some.
that's been here for a month. I won't drink that.
So I have this little thing here. I'll show it a little bit. It's just my miscellaneous plate. So I have a little RD2, whatever that Star Wars dude is.
Yeah.
Whatever.
RTD2. Yeah.
Sure. I think it's always for I have like a little baby duck, little tiny duck,
Yeah.
Mario.
What do you do with
And
it? You play with them when you're by yourself?
yeah, when I'm stressed, I hold the rock and I pretend the duck can talk.
mind that listens to your listens to your problems, right? Well, I don't
Yeah.
have anything like that. I have rocks though. I have this. This is the Love Rock. It's not coming to me right now. This is I believe a fossil from right around Sarnia. And then this one I have, isn't that funny? We both have rocks. This one my son Robert got for me, and you'll see how thin it is. And he's a very good painter. Are you good at art and stuff, Tom?
I used to do, I think
Yeah,
when I was sick,
we got
it's
a good
actually on,
gene.
it's on one of my lists. Remember, I said I want to try to do two different things a
Yeah.
month, and
Oh,
not in the pressure sense, because that's
yeah,
the world I work in,
yeah.
but I put some more food on my food page. So that's been good.
I need you to reinvite me.
I'll reinvite you, and you can invite your friends to share stuff because what it is, like I did rice, salmon, and bacon, which has kind of been our family staple from mom or grandma Jean, and yeah, and so part of with that is, you know what I was thinking, you know what's funny, Michelle? Talk about influencers, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking that's one of the things I wanted to do. I go, man, like I don't want people to think that they just need to eat whatever processed foods on sale, like the cheapest. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
have to, but and everything I'm doing isn't like fancy. It's meant to be like affordable, not take long and be fun. Right? I posted a salad. I had a salad last night. I cut up
Oh,
some romaine cutes and tomatoes.
yep. Nicole will like that page. Invite her too.
Yeah, I thought it's an open page, but I will do the invites. You're right. I
Yeah.
thought I did, but yeah,
Okay.
and so one of the things too was going back to painting because I
Yeah.
did all these abstract paintings. I did these things called flip cup where
What?
you would mix paint. You know what I might do? I might do something, record it, and put on this
Yep.
page. But I got a canvas like from dollar store places. They're
Yep.
not dollars, right?
Yeah.
And you get some paint and there was a couple little things you do and you put it in a cup, like you don't mix it but you put it you get it's like it's like tie-dye in a way with the different
Right.
colors.
With the blending and everything, right?
Yeah, I'll share a couple
Yeah.
pictures on there. I have some
Yeah.
on my thing, but I had some that I'm not no expert, but I had some actually. I sold some. I had a buddy of mine who hates
Hmm.
abstract,
Yeah.
and he's a retired nurse now. But anyways, a big tall guy named George, and he goes, I hate abstract, but there's something about this one. He goes, like, I'll give you $100 for it. I said, sure, that'll buy me some canvas and paints.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome. Well, when I was in high school, I was very good at drawing. I like drawing with like just charcoal pencils,
yeah,
doing the blending, all that sort of stuff. Now Robert's really good at drawing. And then I noticed Alice has taken it up. So that piece of rock, when he gave it to me, because even at 30, how old is he? 35 this year, he still brings his mom's rocks. Now he's
oh,
got
I love it.
Alice collecting rocks with him. So I want to get him to sketch something on there. I don't care if it's like a thing or if it's a pattern, but I thought that would be a really nice piece. Like he gets me great big ones, and I
Yeah,
have a huge one at the bottom of the side steps,
yeah,
and he just put the address on it for me. But I
yeah,
mean, it's perfect, right? Just like the numbers.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
love
and
that
and
stuff.
and in it, that's something for you. Like again, the reason I was doing that, I want to I do music and that, but what I felt for this year was some of the stuff talk about influencers.
Yeah.
I want to I want to do things that will inspire me. So that's why I
Yep.
want to lay in the car. You know what's happening now, right? At sunset, the moon and Mars and everything, Jupiter's all aligned in one line. Look it
Oh,
up.
cool. Okay.
If you go out, you can like if everywhere in the world for the last night for sure, the next couple nights. But if you go out, just when it's better, you can see when it's dark, but it's better when the sky's like blue getting dark, like that
Okay.
in
Yeah.
between. And so anyways, a friend of mine shared a picture, but those things there, I wish I could see it closer and better, but I'm not going on a spaceship. But I want to be inspired. So I want to do that. And so inspiration, painting, writing, whatever.
Exactly. Getting in your zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we it's so easy to just be absorbed by the things we have to do.
And you know what, Tom? I'm going to tell you. So this all happened with my Facebook, and I've been on the same face. Like I've never had issues before. So I'm just going to round it out. I've probably been on Facebook 15 years. And besides joining lots of groups and pages and everything that support my mindset, I've blocked a lot. And boy, has it been eye opening on what I have not been exposed to and made me
Yep.
appreciate I want my page back. Because, like, the
Yep.
first day I joined, what did I see? Something really bad happening to an animal. And I was like, oh my gosh. And block. And so I start the system again, but it just really made me appreciate. And I think of that when people say, that social media isn't good or whatever. And of course, it takes time, it's a process. But yeah, getting in all the right groups, like your food group, like this group, different ones that lift you up, the positive ones, we're all into different things. I'm actually part of the Sarnia Rock and Fossil Club.
Love
I've
it.
never been, but I'm on their page. I see their things. And so, yeah, I think it's such an important thing. And then the other side of influencing, and this is everybody, not just you and me, because we're on the screen right now, is
Yeah.
we never know who we're influencing,
100%.
right? So it's so funny, I was like, even when you think about like with food and, like that whole diet culture is so terrible,
Yeah.
and the word diet is misused. Every species on the planet has a diet. It's
Yeah.
whatever. My cat's diet is cat food. Kevin's diet is dog food and pork bones or whatever. He's a dog, whatever we give him. So, I mean, having that word, like, was our mom on a diet growing up? Was that something that you heard? Like she was always, whether she was actively doing it is not the question, but like in the 70s and 80s, diets were a big thing.
Yeah.
And that diet mentality has passed on to a lot of people our age who don't accept ourselves as we are. We might stress over a little muffin top, or do you know what I mean? Like that perspective really makes a difference, and we get it from a young age.
Yeah. There we go. Life is good. Smile
Life
every day.
is good. Love it.
Yeah, and so go back to like you were saying, like I've said this, I said to people about food. So an
Yeah.
area that I'm
Yep.
comfortable in, I think I have some knowledge, right? So you go back to let's say well, let's say even the 40s. So mom was born in 44, right? But even in the 40s, right? So, beginning of the 40s, World War II was still happening. And by mid 40s, it was over 44, 45, whatever it was, right? And so you had the boomers and all that. But people were, what had happened during the war, and I think even the First World War had started, is they needed to get food to the troops. Now it's probably all these Instapots that you just add water or spay, whatever it is, right? But so with food, so we weren't thinking about diets, and I like so what I've investigated. So people in the 40s and 50s and 60s. So think in the prairies, you
Totally
had
different.
you
Yeah.
had families where the kids could be pretty large. I wouldn't say obese, so leave that, but they would be pretty large, right? And but they were healthy. So the problem that happened, all to do with money and power, right? All of a sudden, it would be interesting to look up. I got to do this because it's gonna freak me out. What was the first diet book? William, when was it? William, the first diet book came out in 1558. Forget that. Anyways, but
Well, there's a
this,
big wave 60s, 70s, because in the 40s and 50s, a lot of people had that hoarding, living in lack mentality,
yep,
right?
yep,
And the TV dinners came out in the
Swanson, yep,
50s, 60s, 70s, and that's when women had to go back to work. These are all part of where our food systems got all messed up because the
yep,
government's making money, they're pushing, and then of course, like your yeast, for example. quite often it's synthetic. It's not natural. Like we've replaced so many different things as well. But going back to the original point, those influences your whole life affect how you are as an adult. And then your confidence, how you feel about yourself, and then how
Yep.
you feel you should look, right?
Yep. And if you look at that, so we're staying in this lane. So you think about, I'm going to investigate because now I'm curious, right? You think about, like even think of Tony Robbins and self-help and these things. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, or even writing books, and you've written a book, so there's no judgments and like, but all of a sudden, like communicating, like I think it's different now. I think the edges have softened because there's so many opportunities. There's so many people with a story or something to share. I tell Teresa, she's
Oh
got
my
like a
goodness.
gazillion pictures of trees and her hikes and beautiful pictures she's taken. I said, you got to put it in a book and not like a book online. Like people like that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so part of it back to the unhealthy um, influence.
Yeah.
You have the government. You have the government who, like I was trying to think. I'm sure the government all through history has been a selfish component, wanting power. With power, you make the decisions for the people type thing, right? And we're seeing right now in our neighbors to the south, lots going on. I was chuckling about talking about influence. I was chuckling about the whole idea. This is like silly talk, whatever. Like the whole idea of the states buying Iceland or the states buying Canada, making it
Oh,
50s.
Greenland. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Greenland, not Iceland, yeah. And so, but here's the thing: like you can have somebody say a little thing, and then all of a sudden, like for some, it becomes reality because it's how they're influenced, right? Like diets again, all of these ideas of different ways to eat healthy. We'll say eat healthy, right? There's a lot of good stuff there, but everybody's an expert, and I think we all have information. It's that old commercial. 4 or 5 dentists say, right? And even now, like and this has been around forever, but you don't hear about it. But fluoride in the toothpaste isn't. It might help your teeth stay white or whatever, but
Oh,
it's not
I
good for you.
already know all that. No, I agree. It's terrible for us.
So part of it is, and then the fear influence, right? So part of it, and you and I was thinking about this because when we talk about doing this again, so I think acknowledging where, and I'm going to tell a story. My daughter is not coming on. I asked if I had permission. I text her,
Oh, good.
but you talk about like we all have to navigate, like you with Facebook, we all have to navigate um, like through stormy waters, we'll say.
That's
And
right.
the thing that keeps you grounded is with all of the things trying to influence you,
Yeah.
um, is is taking care of yourself. And
Mhm.
how we do it with all of us here that are part of this, how we do it may look different. Um, but
100%.
but if you think medicating to the point with whatever substance, well, use drinking to the point of passing out,
Mm,
that's not, that's a temp thing. It's not going to help anybody, right?
that's
But so part of it is how do we manage? I have friends that do this. I don't know if I could do this, that they'll take like a month break off all social media.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's
I
because
do
there's this,
too.
yeah. And so like you said, what happened to you? All of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, because I see this all the time. I didn't realize about this, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
here's the story. So I'm going to say this, talking about influencing
Okay.
how to do it. So my daughter, short version of the story, her car blew up. I think a few in the fall. You might know. So her car, she was at her friend's. She was around Edmonton where a friend lives, her good friend, and her car blew up. And her friend was there. Friend's great. And so what are you going to do? My daughter, socials, I just panicked, right? So, you know, people were trying to help her or whatever, right? So her best friend said, hey, like my husband has a car that's sitting there. Let me see if you can borrow it. So,
Oh,
anyways, went through whatever. So they ended up saying, we'll sell it to you for 1,000 and whatever. So at the beginning of that, um, the they had to put in a battery because the battery had been sitting for a while.
Yeah.
The back wheels were rusted on, like it was really bad, right? And
Mm.
so all of a sudden, this $1,000 car, and my daughter's a single mom, was only working 1 day a week, so she financially stressed. And all of a sudden, she had to put in like new tires, $1,000 bucks. Her brakes had to be replaced, another four. So just to make it drivable, right? So anyway, so talking about influence, right? So her and I were talking the other day. So her friend, off and on, came on and said, "Yeah," and me and my daughter were saying, I think her friend, whatever influences or fears didn't like wanted to help my daughter out, but probably didn't communicate the same thing to her husband to that. So all of a sudden it's a little bit ugly. It's like, oh well, you need to take pay us, else we're going to take the car back, which they can't do, by the way. And so here's the good thing with influence, right? This is why we do what we do, is if in the middle of stress, it could be Facebook, it could be anything, of a family member that just drives you nuts, a workmate, whatever,
Yeah.
a company you work for. Um, how you navigate that, you want positive influences, which can be stop everything. I just need to chill out for a few minutes. It
Yeah.
could be listening to music, meditating,
Yeah.
um, have doing something, tactile, like with your hands or whatever. But you have to find something, because those things are going to come, if not every day, every week. Like, this world is ever shifting right now. The whole AI thing coming out, I
Mhm.
can own it. I'm fascinated, but I'm a bit fearful,
Sure.
right? I've seen enough movies now, right? So part
Yeah.
of it, how do I not let that stress me? So what I do is, if I can't, like, the things that are out of my control, they're out of my control. I can't change those, right? But
That's right.
I could choose to be to myself first, but then those influential circles around us, um, try to, speak well, people, try to encourage people, and go back to influence. You and me, if we can go back in our lives, we would see, and everybody who's on here, by the way, we all have these circles of
For
influences. It could
sure.
be 5, 10, 50,
Yeah.
what you do and I do professionally, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so, and we're not going to be perfect, but you know what? I think people watch what we do more than listen to what we say.
Oh, absolutely. That's right. Talk's cheap.
Yeah.
Action is
Yeah.
where it lies. And I think, sort of circling back a little bit to what you were just saying, I think you also have to go through, especially when it comes through somebody like social media, like the news that's paid for by the government, because they pay for everything, right? So all your BBC, your Canadian broadcasting, that's all dictated by people that might not have our best interests at heart. So I think, like, just even like that tariffs thing, going through and thinking, well, you know, is it true? Is it something that's really going to affect me? Is it happening right now? Is there variables? Is that just a bartering thing to get what they like, not using that specifically, but like in general? So when you see something that they want a reaction, especially on social media, they want
Yeah.
the like, they want the share, right? All those ones, oh, they're one of the ones I'm blocking right now, where it
Who?
starts with, uh, the beginning of a story. I don't follow Hollywood anyways, but it'll be the beginning of a story, and to see the picture, click in the comments or to read the story, and then
Yeah.
it's just clickbait. So I'm just like, remove or hide, and then you just put, you never want to see it again.
Yeah.
That's where we have control. But realizing your Colgate tooth, or whether it was Colgate or not, but the toothpaste is such a great example. And we've seen that all through COVID, right? Like the people that wrote the reports on different things, they had a motive. Who's
Yeah.
everybody getting paid by, right? We're seeing with a
Yeah.
lot of the scandals that were coming out in the government conveniently before it was closed down. That's just a coincidence, I'm sure, where different people had their hands in a mask company or had their hands in whatever, right? And it's good that it's coming to fruition now. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, what did you buy into previously? Because science is ever changing, but they were making it a locked in thing. So looking at the source is important. Trusting yourself. Like I've survived 57 years of making some good decisions, some good decisions.
Yep.
So, in there, from my life experience, what's that telling me? Is that realistic? Should I give that my power? Like, that's a big one with me, is that why am I letting somebody I don't even know take over my thinking that I'm not sleeping tonight? Or I'm
Yep.
distracted by, you know, like I don't have to worry about porch pirates if I don't have a package,
Right.
right?
Right. And I think too, it's funny you said that. I've complained. So I bought a few things from Amazon. So between me and mom, but it'll come. And there's two houses next to each other. Mine is two dash, whatever it says right on the, it's on a
Yep.
white post, black lettering, you can't miss it. And the last four packages have been delivered to four different houses around me from
Oh,
Amazon.
snap.
And
You
so
get the picture and go find them?
well, they sent me a picture. We delivered it. I'm going, so the only way, like, this is a challenge. This is like, you want to talk to somebody at the bank online, right? Like, or like on a phone call, like to talk in the government, you want to talk to somebody because you can't just answer. It's more than just yes, no, whatever, right? And so my landlord, my word, it was from, I don't know if it was from Amazon. I don't know who it was from, but this is a couple months ago. He sends me a video because he's got cameras all over the place. This guy is
Yep,
like,
we
what he
do.
does.
Yep,
He sends me a video, and literally, you see this guy at the front of like the. It's like a walkway, like the garage. There's a walkway to the front door on on the side houses, landlords, and I'm on the other side.
yep,
And I tell people I'm on the left side of the garage. Should
right.
be rock signs. And so he has a video and he showed me a guy standing by the garage and he literally flings the bag to the door. I have a video of it. And you go like, so speaking of influence, right? So what has caused
So was it your
my,
door? It was the landlord's door?
yeah,
Did you get it? The package?
yeah. No, my
Okay.
landlord said, your package is here. He
Okay.
has to remind me all the time. We have a bit of a joke about, right? But I'm sitting here, so I'm going to say this without like I'm trying to be sensitive here, right? So
Okay.
out here with a lot of these drivers, they're young
Yep.
and they're ethnic. Now,
Right.
being
Yep.
ethnic maybe could be a part of it. I don't know. I don't think so. But there's an indifference where they just don't care. So what has influenced
That's
them?
right.
I want a job, and I really nobody's babysitting me, so I can do whatever I want, right?
Good paying
And
job.
places like Amazon, because
Yep.
you see how many Amazon trucks are going around, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
so all of a sudden, you know, how we manage our complaint department because we need drivers because we need to push more stuff out. So this influence of like devalue, not having values, not respecting others. There was a thing on me and Michelle try to be careful of. We don't be over political. We can share bits of our views, but we're not going to go like go on a rant here, right? But they had that. I just saw yesterday or today the prayer, the bishop or whatever woman that prayed over their,
Oh,
and so she. It's not that her prayer was bad in a way, but it was not what she was asked to do. She was
right.
asked to,
Right.
bless this next, people, right?
Right.
And so as
Right.
soon as we have a stage, then do we can voice what we want, right? So there's a lot of chatter now on that, and that's the challenge, right? Somebody says one little thing, chatter, 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 right? Back to my daughter's story, there's a paper trail of what was communicated, and all of a sudden, you know what? And to the point where, unfortunately, this good friendship, is gone. And it's really sad, right?
That is
But
sad.
I told my daughter, I said, you know what?
It'll come
Whatever,
back.
well, even if they don't, like you, my daughter's learning at 32. You talked about Al, but even for her, like, what are your standards? You don't have to be like jokingly. I tell her about like the next partner. I said,
Yeah,
if you don't, you need to go get counseling because you've gone through a lot of trauma. So there'll be things, and after she knows I talk about her on here a bit, right? But after she was separated and been with her ex for 10 years, me and you would never do this. It'd be too weird. But she went on, of course, the dating sites because that's what these young people do, right?
hmm,
Some of them. And, it's funny on there that, people put a picture from when they were 20, but they're 50, talk
right.
about instant or why
Well,
we're
that's your
not comfortable with it.
insecurities. That's
Yeah.
what that is. Yeah,
So she met some people that would tell her what she wanted to hear.
that's what they
Politics,
do.
think about that too.
Yeah, of
And all of a sudden somebody just wanted a joyride, right?
course.
So I was telling her, I says, you talk about influence and our perceptions and perspectives and of us. I
Hmm.
said, you like her dating, I think 3 4 people of this time. Um, you meet these guys that, oh, we're nice and this, that, no problems. And all of a sudden they have some traits that
We're
are,
all nice at the beginning.
well, they have the traits of, right. If I don't know if Tammy's on, you can kill me, Tammy. But said it before, not in a wrong way. We have a certain like in relation flavor or style, right? So the joke was if you pick up your next partner at a bar, the likelihood there's going to be possibly drinking issues, possibly. Not saying every
Possibly.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the thing is, if you got a fishing hole, you're going to pretty much get the same fish in that hole. And
that's
I'm
right.
not painting everybody like bad, but I'm
No,
saying,
no,
so I told her, you, with what's happened with her friend and what's happened with this stuff, I said, you have to do what you need to take care of yourself. So part of it is having a third party that doesn't know you or anybody, that you can just let it out, they'll listen, let it out, they'll listen. And as you go on, then you'll be okay. But taking that principle with influence in your experience, maybe I didn't sabotage you, I'm just telling you. But for you, like all of a sudden we start going, man, I didn't realize how much that influences me, right? Or I didn't realize the noise outside of, like you said, when you came back on, and then you're going, well, what's this? This is weird. I wouldn't look at this stuff or whatever, right? Um, so the way our world is now is, if if you look at a brown purse, all of a sudden anything attributed probably to brown or a purse, way information is, you're going to be bombarded with it, right? Does that make sense?
no, it's brown purse. Like when you get a new car and you see everybody's got the same car. Is that what you
No, I'm
mean?
talking online. So if you went and Googled brown
Oh,
purse,
even, yeah, no, even just talking about it. I've talked about stuff that I know Alexa can hear, and next
yeah,
thing you know, it's all popping up in my social media. It's all connected,
yeah,
all of
and
it.
so that stuff. So you go, and everybody like
And I
we.
go, block, 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 already bought it, back off.
It's funny because mom has Alexa, and she can't hear, and she doesn't speak English. She speaks really bad Franglish, and I hate the thing. I know people like it
Do you
pops
have
up and
it?
says, thing in the middle of nothing.
Do you have it? Do you have one?
No.
Oh, next time you
Um,
go over to mom's to
yeah,
ask it, say, Alexa, pay me a compliment.
I know. My mom does it all the
Great.
time. Or mom,
She get
I said,
compliments?
are you desperate? Go look in the mirror and say, hey, cutie, what's going on?
No, I'm saying say it to Alexa. She'll compliment you.
I know.
Great feature.
Cheap. Pay a
Why?
hooker to do that. Pay a
Oh
hooker.
my goodness.
I'm joking. I've never had a hooker, never paid.
We
Anyways,
don't care. It's
but yeah,
sure.
but the thing is, I love features are fun, right? It's like,
They are because yeah, anyways, we have one. We like her.
it's
But I
actually,
know
yeah,
she listens.
I wouldn't have one. It's just, maybe at some point, I don't know, I wouldn't have one, I don't think.
Maybe if
But
your
it's
son bought you one, you would. That's
Uh,
how I got mine.
so here, sidebar question.
Hmm.
If somebody in your family buys you a present, birthday or Christmas present, I know you don't do tons of presents, do you feel obligated to keep it?
Um, it depends what it is and who it's from. So me and Al don't do gifts, but the kids do gifts.
Right.
And so I'm a firm believer in regifting, but I
But
have
not
never
but not
because
Al.
huh? No.
You won't regift Al.
Yeah, no. But I don't know if I got something from those three or the grandchildren, obviously. But if I got a gift from somebody else, like if I got a gift from like my members, and
Yeah.
I do sometimes, if oh, good example. I got a Starbucks card from my one of my jobs. Uh, I don't know, something to do with the town hall I didn't go to. Anyways, do you go to Starbucks?
Uh,
Well,
they take too
I
long.
don't. I don't go there. I'm gonna regift that to somebody,
Yeah.
right? So I'm a firm believer in regifting, but I was also raised very strict. You pretend you like it and you smile and thank you so much. And then there's certain things I might regift without their knowledge. But I'm not like I still appreciate the gift and the
Yeah.
love, but green might not be my color. Just
Yeah.
saying, right?
That
Or it's
that's
like
where
this, Starbucks.
that's where the ugly sweater began its journey.
Yeah, I
Is I
know.
don't know when some auntie or grandma knitted one of the
Right.
boys an ugly sweater. It didn't
Yep.
say, and then everybody had grandmas that knitted or something like that, and then
Now
so
they have
they
parties.
yeah. So now like these types of things are odd. But I had this thing. It's silly, but it's still I'm inquisitive, right? You should take the Starbucks card. Do you know how much it's worth? You don't have to tell me.
15.
Okay. You should go give it to a homeless person.
Well, I can. It's virtual. Or I would have
Oh,
done something like that.
because
I
I'd
have
love to
to
see.
email it.
Yeah, so anything can happen.
Yeah.
I
No, I'm
love
way
to
ahead
see.
of you on that.
I'd
I
love
would.
to see a homeless person go into Starbucks.
Yeah.
No, no, no judgment because perception, right?
Yeah.
It would be. But anyways, yeah. So the influence. So you talk about like what gives us. I like what you said earlier, the journey, right?
Hmm.
So how do I say that? I think not in a full way, but we rediscover ourselves. Um, it's not like a 20 or 30, but in different decades of our lives, right? Different
Yeah.
experiences, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about, I was telling somebody the other day, I don't know who it was, they were 30. I said, you'll probably have like they were talking about as friends, my daughter was saying, like, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm happy with what I'm doing. I said, well, you probably for whatever working rest of your life, you might change your careers a couple more times. So don't
That's what
be
they say, right?
overwhelmed with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So so in it, you and me, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think something that would be relevant to be authentic. But for me, this is an example. Mom doesn't like it, it's too bad. It's an example, right? When I grew up, and I wouldn't have known any better of this paternal, like you think when you get older and the dad throwing the softball with the kid or doing something or a horsey, right? Connection, right?
Right. Relationship.
Back in
Yeah.
that day, it'd be interesting, not live, but ask Al about that. It would be interesting because in that time, that just didn't happen, right? Probably with your dad, right? It just didn't. The there would be relationship, but it wasn't like how a mother raises the kids. The father was
Oh, he
working,
was the heavy hand. He was the one. Well, yeah. Yeah,
but
it was different. It was on
yeah, it was a
vacation.
disconnect, and that influence came from their parents and parents, right? And
Right.
I joke a lot of it. This posh kind of reverent wave comes from England, and I was laughing. I've got an Irish friend, and he loves history, and he goes, he was talking about Ireland, right? And he was talking about, oh, what were the people that Druids?
Mm.
But he was talking about like English people were posh and the kings and the queens and the royalty, and then you had the Irish that were not. Hey sis, we have the Irish that were like hellbent and the Druids and the Vikings, right? So you had this kind of influential wrestle culture that's back then, right? So you think about it now. I'm going to use like, or my opinion, oversensitive culture influence, right? So all of a sudden, if there's a minority not an issue, minority concern, say with I use in Canada, Israel, right? Where at some of the universities where there's hatred on both sides, and I could be wrong. There seems to be, from what I know across the country, a lot more fear and hatred towards the Israeli students in schools, and that's from some connections I have, right? And and there is racism towards Palestine, so we know all that, right? And you go. So I was talking to this years ago, Israeli friend in Ottawa actually, and he's I think he was a rabbi or something. I don't remember how I knew him, but we were just talking during COVID, and there was a whole bunch of things happening, like with defacing stuff and that. And he goes, it's so interesting that some of these people doing this, younger people, they don't even know why they're doing it. They're
Exactly,
they're
100%.
raised they're raised to hate.
That's
They're
right.
raised to hate,
That's right.
right? And his story was, he goes, I was in a prison camp with he's older, right? I don't even know if he's alive now. And he goes, the Germans, like the guards, were raised to hate. They were indoctrined, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
The riots in Capitol Hill, and so that here's a problem in the world influence. We live in so much misinformation.
that's right.
um, with COVID, and me and Michelle, we don't push this agenda. Go check it out yourself. The the manipulation here, I'll be in trouble for if I am. I don't care, but we're finding out more and more now, little bits. Misinformation is all about money and power. So was there things going on? Yeah. And then misdirection is another thing. Like, oh, this is happening. Okay, we'll do this and we'll talk about it, right? I believe we're going to look back on COVID and what happened. It can't change it. It happened. And the results of COVID, mental wellness, our mental state, our the financial crushing of our country, like everything shutting down, right?
Yep, the weight on our health system.
Yeah.
Look at the
We're
um look at the impact on um like just all the different industries that let so many people go, and then the
yeah,
fallout. Like part of the problem they're having with those wildfires in California is they let go 166 firefighters for not getting vaccinated, and then now, even now in 2025, that's biting them in the butt,
yeah,
right? Yeah, you're right. It's so interesting, and so many different, like the mental part of it, the strain, the people that ended up. I know somebody that lost three children between 20, like March
yeah,
2020 when it started, to now, and and mental strains, drug addiction blew up, like all these different things. I
yeah,
can't even imagine. Like she has like five kids and is down to two. That,
yeah,
woo, like try to even wrap your head around that, right?
yeah,
It's the fallout. Um, is, yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be in books and some lessons to learn
yeah.
from.
And,
Absolutely.
and in it, I think so. We're talking about that, but I think I've mentioned here. I had there was, I don't know, between 30 and 40 people I knew that passed away, died from different things: diabetes, cancer,
Yep.
overdose, COVID,
Yep. I think
or
we all did. Yep.
and suicide and murdered and stuff. So just because of working with
Murder
drug
too.
addiction,
Yeah.
yep,
Yep.
yep. I knew a guy that got shot because his brother was hiding, and this guy was clean. I met him at a teen challenge where I did some call, and his brother was on the run for $200 drug debts. And this friend of mine, and I saw him Sunday, And I saw him Monday. He was actually had just been diagnosed bipolar, but really gentle, not aggressive.
Mm,
He was going to meet somebody Monday night to pay his brother's debt. And these are like
oh,
little, this is, and not to be disgusting here, and I apologize if it's offensive. These punks shot him 5 times in the head
yeah.
for $200. So
It's
so talk about influence,
yeah.
this disconnect of the value of life, right? Like so we can have, like, not
Oh,
me and you.
100%. Don't you think the video games have something to do with that? Just throwing it out
Um,
there. Like
it's an
because
interest.
it desensitizes you.
Well, and yeah, and here's the thing. So here's the thing. What, you may think an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and I may think, like, so that's just the way we're made. So there could be kind of some things. So I know I've seen studies about this, by the way, and actually me and my son have talked about it,
Hmm.
because he's into like Japanese stuff and all that, and he's a good kid. But we've talked about, what do you think about this? Desensitized
Yeah.
TV, movies, all this stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
100%.
so this study that I saw, and kind of went through, was from the States, and they were doing kids. This is years ago. They were doing kids between the age of 8 to 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the study was incomplete, and they knew that, and it was released by Johnson and Johnson, I think. So it was interesting,
Okay.
And I think some of the stuff, like, there's some fact finding places that
Mhm.
just, they're not telling you. They just go, well, this is what we found out, right?
Right.
And
They
they
still
just
want to
said that.
sell games.
What's that?
They still
No.
want to sell games. So,
Yeah. Well, this is, I always think of the baby powder people.
oh, yeah,
But
yeah. Oh, no, of course.
they're probably the same company, right?
Yeah.
But it's through the university. And so basically they were exactly what you're talking about. They're going, so how do you, like, what a percentage of young men are become desensitized and become violent through watching violent playing games,
Mm.
right? And in the study, as it continued on for a couple of years, it was like releasing reports is what it was.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And that was fascinating. They said it depended. I mean, you talk about nurture, nature, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Depended,
yeah.
depended on the child.
Of
But
course.
even children, like, you think of, like, it's horrible, some of these school shootings that have gone on.
Mhm.
You get this kid, some of them are loners, and my son's a bit of a loner. So he doesn't have any guns or hoodies or whatever, right? But and
No hoodies.
but but all of a sudden, because we're not aware of ourselves, in my opinion, and we don't have to be like weird about it. But if we don't, if we're not well, like working towards wellness, whatever that means, health, mentally,
Mm.
emotionally, whatever, then we don't have that to give away. That's what I was saying earlier, how we've shifted through life through experience.
Yeah.
Um, Having cancer, um, probably was the stop I needed
Yeah.
to
100%.
to and then in the midst of my body being traumatized, but I didn't realize how depressed I was, because depression isn't like sad all the time. So going back to the kids, right? So all of a sudden, like, what they've been trying to do this for a while with kids, is, talk about schools, and I'll go on my rant. Teach about, like, in schools, they should teach about acceptance, but they shouldn't push agendas. And that's the problem we have in our schools, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because we want to, and there's this weird thing now that we feel more special, validated, when we empower the minority, right? Vancouver, I've got nothing about people's sexuality, whatever you choose to do, as long as you don't hurt anybody,
Yeah.
then
I I
that's your
agree.
choice, right? But they had years ago, Vancouver, where they took out, churches would pay to be in a parade, and they would throw candies. They wouldn't throw Bibles or anything, like that, but they were just like Salvation Army type thing, right?
Yeah.
Or
Sure.
whoever, right? Well, all of a sudden, they were not allowed to be in the parades, but all of the parades for
Oh, gotcha.
gay floats were allowed, right? Because
Yeah.
we want to be, and then all of a sudden now it's so big. Again, I'm not. You want to do I think some of it's, I think there's weird people in whatever culture and sexuality,
Yeah,
doesn't matter, right? And
100%.
there's good people, right?
Yeah, for
But all of a
sure.
sudden, I think it's this mindset of feeling like we're champion. We're champion. Oh, we're going to champion the underdog, right? Talk about influence again. So why, right? And a lot of this started. I have a book. I gotta send it to you. I gotta figure out how to send it to you. I got a book. When what was the black man in L.A. that got Rodney King?
Okay.
You remember him?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets attacked with him. So a few months later, we go down. We're doing a church and we bring some young adults to LA and go to Disneyland and some other stuff, right? So we're like 2, 3 months out when Compton burnt down, back when they had the big fold up mats, right?
Yeah.
So we're there, and in the van we're all white. There's like me and Teresa, and then like 4 kids in the back,
Yeah.
and I'm now influencing it. I'm actually concerned for my well being,
Of course.
paranoid, whatever, and maybe rightly so, whatever, right? So, anyways, I left. So I've got a book here called not No Compromise. I got to find it for you. So years later, I get a book from this guy that was an LA cop, and he
Oh,
talks
interesting.
about LA burning.
Yeah.
He's a white guy. He's a sergeant, and he just talked about how, especially somebody's charismatic, how we just fall for it. It's like a really bad encyclopedia salesman at the door. We just feel, oh, I don't know, yeah, whatever. I don't want the books, but I'll buy it just to be
That's
nice.
right.
And
Yep. Yep.
so we get suckered in, right? So it's just it's like this hate, and I think it's worse in the States, well, because they're bigger, right? But this hate against trying to segregate blacks and whites, like it's still going on today, and you've got people like small minutes that are just so aggressive. I just saw this guy speaking in New York, and he's like, they're putting back on the buses where we weren't allowed to sit in
Oh,
the front. And I'm going like, first of all, he's got a platform from influence. Can't remember who what guy it is.
yeah.
You think that you're supporting the underdog, you're initiating hate.
That's
And
right. Exactly
right,
right. And I think, that's one of my pet peeves. I think everybody should stay in their own lane. And when you were
yep,
saying about who are you mentioning? I don't know, but it made me think of Jimmy Kimmel. Like
yep,
and see, I won't watch any of there's a whole bunch of them that
yep,
they cry, and comedians and singers. Okay,
yep,
I like you as a singer, sing. I don't care. I don't care who you think. You're not educated in it. You don't have sometimes even a horse in the race. That so irks me. And I walk away and I let it go because their own karma is coming. But like Jimmy Kimmel, did you ever watch the guy show he used to have? That guy's mm.
yep.
So keeping it inside, keeping it good. But but it's true, right? I'm with you 100%. And so instead of people getting all gaslit by that, right? Like women are not going to lose voting rights. Shush. That is like, let's go through the truth meter. That's not going to happen. And so, like, is Jimmy Kimmel somebody that I go to him for any advice? I would
No,
not. I wouldn't even go to him to say, "Do you know how to put my inhaler together? Do you know what headlight I need?" Like that is not a person I would go to. Or Eminem. I don't mind watching him. I go to him for advice? No. Would I ask Kid Rock for advice? Not in a million years, right?
no.
Maybe how to roll a joint, but I already know. But I'm just like, it's so ridiculous that we give so much power to these people. And I'm hopeful that and I believe that this is happening, as their stats are going down, they're going to get the message. Like, you might have had a really good product there, your show, your comedy, your whatever, and you jumped the ship because whether you took a check to be, say that verbiage or you truly believe it, I don't know. But this is what gets people going, and then they're fearful, right? Like what if this happens, what if something else? I mean, I don't know. Something could follow the satellite could follow the sky and take me out. I'm not going to worry about it's not realistic, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to worry about, all of a sudden anything. Like we could go down those rabbit holes, but this is where we need to rein it in and really look at the source that's trying to pummel us with all opinions, opinions, opinions. Can you tell that really gets me going, Tom?
And you're bang on. And here's the thing. We live in a time, so people my age and your age, or people getting into, I'm a boomer. You're not a boomer, are you? You're the
No,
next. Doesn't matter. I don't care.
no,
Me,
I'm
my
right after. No,
my
but
son's
we have some boomers older than you that watch us.
yeah.
So, yeah,
So the thing is, we know what we know, we don't know what we don't know. But
I
we
heard
live
that.
in this kind of this pool of information, and people, and here's the thing we should talk about one time. Here's a thought. Why has this culture over the years, over many, many, many years, why do musicians, athletes, and actors make more money, more money than
Oh,
teachers and firefighters and police
I know. Or teachers,
and nurses? I said teachers.
nurses, fire. I agree. Makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we, as a culture, we got to put back in us. Go like why?
Well,
Like
and let's fix it.
yeah.
Let's fix
Well,
it.
and so how you? It's funny. So my son, getting off topic. It's 6:15. We got 15 more minutes. We started late.
I'm fine.
Um,
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
we're fine. Yeah, people, if you don't like it, um, Tammy, if you're still here, can you see who's on?
No, I can just see.
I just see the comments.
Yeah, I see we have one and my system's never accurate. It says one person, I imagine that's Tammy. If you're with us, even just put a dot, a smiley face, something in the chat. But keep in mind, they can watch us on replay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so in it, it would be interesting to kind of dissect. Like, I mean, this is my wiring, so I apologize. It's kind of what I put Michelle through sometimes, but so part of it. If you go like why am I influenced by, let's say, Taylor Swift, or by like I like football and I like hockey, I like NFL football, right? But I don't even think about what they make. I just like the sport. Like I would like watch a show. I don't think of what they make, right?
Mhm.
But somehow there's been this devalue of one side and value of another side of entertainment.
Mm.
And to me, I'm gonna written down. I want to find that out, because these, if we can learn from the past, I don't know how much we can change. We're trying to be influencers, but we're trying
What
to
do
do
you
it
want to
positively.
figure out?
Well, where did that shift happen? Jokingly, like use gladiator, roughly based on what happened in Rome, right?
Yeah.
Well, the gladiator that survived
Yeah.
got to eat for another day. He didn't go sit with the emperor, like,
Right.
so whatever. And I like,
It's like union negotiations. It's the
yeah,
same thing.
yeah,
One person get like you get more, and then now I want more because you're getting more,
yeah.
and it's amazing the digits it's got into, and it's also amazing um, that how when they fall, and this goes back to if you don't know how to handle money when you're poor, you're not going to be able to handle money when you're rich. And you see that all the time, right? And then they have one good season. They may, and I'm not a sporty person, I'll give that disclaimer right here, but you see that all the time where they, I got to make a note before I forget something. I gotta tell you after. So it's amazing how they can make all that money, buy their mama a house, set up grandma in the home, do all this stuff, bling, 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 and then the floor drops out, like the guy that took the knee, and then right Kaepernick or something. So I'm probably screwing that up,
Um,
but he blew it because he wasn't that great of a player, is my understanding as a non, feel free to correct me, but
wish I
my
remember his name. I know who it
understanding
is.
is, yeah, is that, and then he took a knee,
Yeah.
which is so ironic because he has the world in the palm of his hands, and now he's broke and he's crying to get back on a team.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I'm thinking I know you're thinking about the black guy. I'm thinking about the white guy. I know you're thinking about, I'm thinking of the white guy that because of his faith, this is years ago, he was like
oh no, this
and
was in the last few years.
he got kind of abolished. But talk about influence again, right? Not
Yeah,
so influence again, you have everybody and their dog thanking God or their version of God, right?
sure,
So
absolutely.
a fun fact. Just because I'm nerdy about all history, actually. So the fun fact is this: there's Emperor Constantine, Roman Emperor, right?
Yep,
1,000 years ago. And so Constantine, Rome had occupied Israel and Palestine. So they were, we've always been occupying, conquering people. That's what we've done. I don't know why, but we can't get along with others. We have to conquer them, right? Maybe that's
yeah,
where sports come out, right? And
there's something right there.
yeah, so Constantine, back with Rome, and he was the emperor, and they'd have their other like leaders and their senate and all that stuff, right? So in his household, this is a bit of a religion, but in his household, he had slaves in his household. So these slaves, and this is historically documented in like it's not a Bible story, it's in other stuff. It's after, right?
Yeah,
So slaves influenced his wife and told about Jesus type stuff. So Constantine, so this is what they said to whatever degree. Back then, they had lots of gods. They had the god of rain, and they had the god of
yep,
having more kids, and it's the world, right?
yep.
So all of a sudden, Constantine, rabbit ears, became a Christian, right? So,
Rabbit
and this
ears.
is rabbit ears, my fingers at work.
Oh,
Quote,
oh,
he became a Christian, whatever that means, right? But
okay.
because he did that, now of the all of the leaders that worked in the Senate or whatever the council, whatever they're called,
Yeah,
they all became believers automatically because if it's good for Constantine, it's good for us, right?
yeah.
So power and influence, right? King Henry VIII, which is still one of my favorite stories, right? He's a king, do what he wants to do. Tired of this wife, cut one wife's head off. I can't imagine the brutality back then, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness.
He,
Yes.
for whatever reason, he's the king, but he wanted the Catholic Church to dissolve one of his marriages. I think he already killed some women already, right? I don't know why he felt he needed that. Rabbit ears, rabbit ears, rabbit
Right.
ears.
Right.
So then he goes, "You're not going to bless me," or whatever he meant. So then he started the Church of England. So he came up, took the rules he liked, got rid of the ones he didn't.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
So but talking about influence way back then, I just finished House of Dragons, and now I'm going to watch Game of Thrones for probably the sixth time. And I know you like it.
No, I have a show suggestion.
What?
That's what I just wrote down. So you have
What?
a Roku TV, right?
Sure.
Okay. So there's a new show that's come out and it's with John Cena. Do you know him?
He might be a wrestler. I can't
He's
see that. I don't know.
yeah, exactly. And the show call is called, and it just came out this year. So it's 2025. What drives you? And I'm so excited. I watched just a couple of minutes of it this morning, episode number one. And so and of course, is some sporty person, I don't know, some wrestler or something, but he goes and he talks to different people. He talks about their car that they drive, but then he talks about what drives you motivationally. And I'm
Love it.
super excited to watch it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
I'll
it's
share the trailer on the page.
See, it's so interesting. So with mankind, with
Love that.
fear. So my son,
You have a
who
son?
I have a son, Ethan. He'll
Yeah,
never
we
be on
know.
here, but he's such a good son. He wants to be a scientist. He's smart and all that. And he's just at 18, he's under 19, he's building some confidence. He's not looking for a relationship. He's not caught in these bubbles. He's very for the moment, he's got a bit of ADD, but he's very okay with himself, right? So which is where we should start, right?
Yeah.
But we were talking. I bring him to school bring the shuttle like from Abbotsford to Chilliwack to Abbotsford. So it's like I get him at 7 a.m. in the morning every morning. But we have time to talk once he's awake. But we have time to talk, right? But we'll talk about little things. So what do you think about this? What do you think about that, right? And and because I'm asking these questions and I'm not trying to influence him, he's able to tell me his thoughts.
Of course. Yeah.
He goes like, not blaming me per se, but he said like, I just think that the people older than me have left the world in such a shitty place. Well, my word's shitty, his is not shitty, right? And it's so easy to think like there's
Mhm.
so many people, reminds me of the Matrix, right? There's so many people blindly just going along. I've got
We're
credit card
supposed
number
to be here.
9 because I've been rejected. Now this one's only 75% interest. I'm joking, right? And because we feel we need or want, we got to differentiate what we need and want. And that's where we'll talk about this year again, some of your wisdom saying, okay, budgeting, what do you do? What can you afford? Don't buy what you can afford. Don't be stupid, right?
Yeah.
And so it's refreshing to me to hear, because I don't see the world like he does, because I'm older and I've seen way more.
Right.
But
But
and
he's
he
getting different influences than you.
it would be like your daughter Nicole,
Mhm.
who's older than Ethan, or my daughter Emily, and all of a sudden you go, so he doesn't watch any cable. He watches
No, we don't either.
some YouTube things. He likes Japanese. He's learned like a couple different languages and made up his own
Oh,
language. So
nice.
it's interesting watching him. And then I have friends that have kids his age that are like into kung fu or into sports, whatever. I'm not judging any of that, right? Back to earlier on saying
Yeah.
like this whole thing about violence, like I think media or the world or our cities or circles, whatever it looks like, we've desensitized in the way of our value, right? So if I'm alone and I feel hurt, um, I don't know how to deal with my feelings, so that's I'm just going to go do something and take my life, right?
Or yeah, or you share on social media and some keyboard warrior.
Yeah,
I got it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to
yeah.
interrupt you. Can I
No,
just
but yeah, and or
go?
you get somebody who doesn't know how to deal with the pain of being um, molested or abused or traumatized as a child, like going back, and you don't know how to deal with it. And I think now the good news, I think if somebody was in a family situation like that, I think there's enough information where hopefully somebody can get out. Back in our day, because we were like, well, we know more now, which is great. But part of it is confidence in ourselves and to be willing to be a life learner. But you said something I think is probably the most important thing, or we talked about not last week before. How do you deal with all of the information influence coming at you? How do you go to buy a used car at a car lot because you saved up a couple grand, and all of a sudden they're trying to put you in a $10,000 car? I'm in
Mhm.
sales, so I know what I'm talking, right? Like, how do we don't let that influence the shiny thing do it? Like you and me being vulnerable here with me, Michelle, with you guys, right? So me and Michelle believe we're not Joe Rogan, never gonna be Joe Rogan.
You
I
might
can
be
have
Joe
two
Rogan
lives.
later. You don't know.
You could be Joanne Rogan.
I would.
Um,
I need
but
lava lamp and it's all.
yeah, but part of him, like I look like this guy came out of Fear Factor. I don't even know how he started that, right? He's such a baby back then,
He's a
right?
fighter.
Well, he didn't fight long.
No, I know, but he was still in the arena, if you
Yeah.
will.
He was
Right?
in MMA, yeah. And
Yeah.
so, but part of it is so we do this because we feel it's the right thing to do. Maybe we ramble and banter, whatever, right? But we do this not because you know, if there was a million viewers, would we be happy? Of course we would, right? Encourage, we're trying to get through the mess a little bit of the world, but encourage people, right? We've talked about with mental wellness, we'd like to get some guests this year, right? Michelle and I still have to talk about that on our own, but like, not that it has to be the perfect guest, but now it's like, what do we want to say? See, I think now bringing in somebody else that we can interview and talk to is of value for us too,
Of
but
course.
to you guys, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to be sort of spiraling off of what you're saying
yeah,
about the younger
you're going to
generation.
bring us down, land the plane.
Yeah, I'm going to land the plane and then I'm going to bring it back up. It's going to be fine. So years ago, we were the suicide capital of Canada. And this was
Yep.
when Nicole was in high school. And then I don't know, life continues and whatever. So Alec, my oldest one, so he'll be turning, oh geez, 37 soon. And same older than me, I must add. So he is really big on World of Warcraft. He's like level 99 or whatever. That's his thing. I mean, he works and he has a life and he's into other things, but he's really good on that game in particular. That's his thing. All his buddy Robert, same thing. They're all on WoW. And I said to him one day something about I just can't believe all these kids killing themselves. And like it was so out of control that like Nicole would go to a funeral with five of her friends for the sixth friend. And then
Yeah.
after watching all the trauma everybody's going through, one of the
Right.
people she'd sit with would do the same thing. And
Yeah.
it's so hard to wrap your head around. And so Alec and I, we have these great conversations as well. And funny enough, Alec is our introvert in the family. Although you
Right.
got to watch him because he's hilarious when he decides he wants to share or whatever. But anyways, I said, "What's going on? I just can't wrap my head around it." And he goes, "Oh, I totally get it." And I said, "Oh, well, what do you mean?" And he goes, "Because people talk about it on the games all the time. Because we all know, and this never crossed my mind when I was his age. So this is going back probably 10 years." He said, "Because there's nothing to look forward to. They know they're going to be stuck working a job for the next 40 years of their life or whatever. And they all talk about it like it's a viable option." And I thought, you know what? It never crossed my mind till the last couple years how long I have to work before I don't have to anymore. Like it was never a thing. I never in my well, I hit the ground running, right? When as soon as I was able to work, I it never crossed my mind, oh, I have to do this for 30 years or 40 years. Or like it never even was a thing because my perspective was it's exciting. I'm evolving. I can change jobs. I can change careers. But now, with this new perspective, and of course, a lot of the people online, keyboard warriors, they expect to start at the top, right? It's that different mentality
Yeah.
of, instead of realizing, like my first job that I actually got a paycheck for, phone solicitor. that and I think I made 320 an hour, $3.20. And I worked 6 days a week after like 5 days after school and Saturday. And you know what? I loved every minute. Not that the job was joyful, but I was allowed the rules in our house was you got to keep your whole pay until you finished school and then you had to pay rent. So I got like then my parents used to say it's the only time you're going to get all your money, so enjoy it. So
Yep.
it was such a different mindset than what they have today. And I think the gaming, where they're gaming with each other, the social media, it's our greatest downfall, but I think it's what's going to fix everything down the road because there's no like what Ethan's talking about the world we messed up. That wasn't us. That was the powers that be, right? I mean, it's all by design. I totally believe that.
Well, and I think too, who's the guy I told you about? It's on Netflix. He's National Geographic guy, Attenborough or whatever.
Oh, yeah, 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 with the animals.
Yeah, and so his last
David.
one I saw was so good. He's like 90 years old, but he talks about his perspective, and they go back and show black and white videos of him in playing with gorillas and all that,
Yeah,
right? But he just talks about, and it's interesting because his worldview will be different than your and mine.
of
But he
course.
talks about being he's got to see the larger world than we have, right?
Right.
And he doesn't, in my heart, what I believe, maybe I'm just not sensitive to it, but he doesn't come across with like he doesn't like go into the green grass. He talks about how he does math. He goes, our population keeps growing and growing, and at some point the earth won't be able to sustain it. So what are we doing? You said something earlier, like we're making so many synthetic foods. This is probably what's might gonna happen in the States with Mr. Kennedy.
Oh,
There's so many synthetic foods. There's foods
red dye.
that there's things like wheat. that they can grow faster and quicker in these big places. I've been down there when I used to work for Cisco, these big places where they can, instead of actually with the pesticides in the prairies, wheat back in the 40s would have like one season, but then they'd modify it. And then now they can grow it on longer seasons. But here's the trick of it. So good and bad, modifying genetically, stuff, right? It's like apples. There, every apple we eat right now has been modified. There's only, where apples came from was Europe, but England was part of Europe. Somebody told me when I was there, some old guy who I believe he wasn't a flake guy. He ran a museum, right?
Yeah.
He says, however they did back then, but all the apples have been not blended, what they call that spliced, like mutated.
With bugs and
No, no,
worms.
no, but they've taken seeds from this and then they add and do whatever, right? So all of a sudden, talk about our human life. This is what I think Ethan is saying, and others is like Ethan is growing up to be a man now, and like he says, I got to take more responsibility. And but he games in that because he goes, I know it's not real, but
Right.
it's. I would zone out watching a show, right? Probably you too, or music with it, right?
Mhm.
And so going into this next 10 years, 25 to 35, how do we help ourselves, but everyone create a mindset that we're not overcome by the world? So if they drop bombs, forget it, we're out of the picture, right? But so when me and Ethan talk, how do we, and you do it with your kids, how do we, the world's different than from us, like the world of debt and staying at home until you're 35, the good and bad of that. Sometimes that's not horrible, right? But but there was a mindset with my generation that the kids grow up and go to college and leave and start their own family. Well, that might change.
Or get
And that
out at
doesn't mean,
16. That was our generation too.
yeah. And it doesn't mean that it's bad. But so how do we have our focus? And I love that show you talked about. I'll look it up with Cena. But how do we? There was another show we talked about, totally different, but rant. But the other show, what was the actor's name? But he would travel with his buddy to different parts of the world.
Yes, the young guy.
Zac Efron. Zac Efron.
Yes, that was a really good one as well. That
Yeah.
was really
And
good. Mhm.
it's not about propaganda. It's actually, so we're starting to see this. Is what I love about Hollywood. What's that?
So enlightening of like the
We're
world.
starting to, so there's good stuff out there. So we're starting to see. So here's Zac Efron, famous actor, whatever, and he's not doing this. This doesn't make him money. Am I
You lost
frozen?
your camera. No, but your camera's gone.
I didn't touch anything. Let me find it again. That was weird.
Okay. That is, I highly recommend that one for
Yeah.
sure.
So in it, me and Michelle always talk about influence. I share all the movies you guys should watch, and you can share with me music or movies or whatever, right? But we have to have something that doesn't make go back to killings and people ODing and all this stuff.
Yep.
When we don't have hope and we feel we're alone, and
Yep.
like that's what my son would say. He goes, Dad, like he goes, like I love you, Mom and Dad. Actually, no, I'll say this because he won't be there. Check this out though. But this is this generation. He goes, I don't know. He said this last year because I don't know if I know what love is.
That's his age though too, right?
Yes.
And he's a boy.
So part of it, and I don't get all deep, but why? And he knows we love him, but it's feeling love.
Because he wait till he has the right girlfriend.
Yeah. And but part of this nurturing influence our in circles of influence, if we can influence with kindness, be aware of yourself, your wellness, make sure in a world that wants to suck your energy and your mind and your emotions dry. I
Yep,
told my daughter earlier, don't respond to this lady, just take a breath. Take a
that's
breath.
right.
Go
Walk
watch a
away.
show with the kids. Go dance in the living room with the kids, right?
Tell her Moana 2 is excellent.
Yeah, she probably has seen it. Now they're waiting for
Has she
Mufasa.
seen it? Oh,
The new one out, it's a Lion King, but it's like not
no,
cartoons
I
coming
saw
out.
that too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
Do you
didn't see
like
it. I saw that it's out, but we
yeah.
just went Moana's in the show. It's good.
Yeah, I think she got it on anyways. But so part of it is these things that are healthy distractions are good, but we don't live there. That's what happens with addiction, right? So part of it is, but we go, we take a breath, put our arms up, chill out, and
Have a
we
nap,
don't
have a tub.
yeah, do whatever, a tub or
Yeah,
rolling,
puzzle.
whatever you do, gummies, whatever.
And I agree. And with the other things, like even what you were saying about the apples, they
Yeah,
are cross-pollinating them with bugs, just so you
that's
know.
what it is. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it is. And I know that because Al learned that at college like 20 years ago. But you see, this is where we don't have to just be in the canoe going with the current. We
yeah,
have more control. Find a local farmer, source stuff out. Alec was talking the other day about getting our own chickens or not. But we were talking about it like it's legal here that you
yeah,
can get your own, right? So I mean, going back to supporting local, sourcing your stuff, because you're right. I mean, there's always going to be things that are out of our control, but
yeah,
knowledge is key. And then, every single person has superpowers. Your
yeah.
power to budget, your power to barter, your power to go to the farmer's market or whatever, right? So I think we have more power than we think.
And here's what I would say too. This is the other thing that's happened all over the years. Different psychological books. I can't remember who the authors are. Different psychologists. Is the world has tried different the powers that be to isolate us. And so what they do, they isolate us with fear, propaganda. So even living in a house with all of the family, you
Yep,
can feel alone. Kids that are going out and doing horrible stuff in the state, well, all over. There's this. I'm 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 in a crowd of people, but I'm disconnected, right?
right.
So we've done that where, and like I said earlier, it's gonna sound like contradiction, like so we don't even feel like a minority. We just feel like me dealing with my stuff back then, it wasn't manly to share the stuff that I've been through. And you talk
Right.
about
Of
you and your
course.
dad, your mom and dad, like there was a certain mindset. So this thing about being well, but here's the thing, this is a freebie for everybody. 2025, begin to make it a part of your life, however it looks, once a month, once a week, whatever. Start doing stuff for other people with nothing to expect back, and
Fine.
and to whatever in your meaning. So if you're retired and you're feeling alone, find somewhere to volunteer, right? Find something that fits into your thing, right?
Yeah.
um buy somebody a coffee, say hi, like me and Michelle say, like be
Mm,
friendly to people, because if you go and just watch a supermarket, people are like face down, majority of them
mhm.
going away. Old people are feeling lonely. I talk to them more in stores than anybody else. But here's the thing: as we start, this is Zac Efron. I think some of these people come to do stuff. They're realizing like I have the ability to do something. I'm not doing. He's not making money off this. It's probably cost them more money to do it, even though it's on Netflix. I don't think it's well. It's not making them.
He's he'll get paid well, but
Yeah, but he doesn't like in their thing. It's not like doing like X Man or whatever. Whatever. I don't know what he's been
oh,
in,
I
right?
see.
But all of a sudden, like it's like what are they talking about? Not Gates, but people like that philanthropy. So
Philanthropy,
all
right?
yeah, so all of a sudden you don't have to worry about your next million generations of family because you got that much money.
Oh, for sure.
But then all of a sudden, because you have the money, some of them, by the way, they go, I want to figure out how to help the world, the earth, whatever, right? My son doesn't like Musk, Elon Musk.
Just
I
kidding.
know.
Lots of
He's
people
a
don't. He's hit and
he's a
miss, right?
weird he's he's such a weird dude, but I love him, right?
Yeah,
But we
he's Asperger's, right?
but he's just like he's the best because he's not trying to conform to this thing, right?
That's right.
So
That's right.
we need more of that. I think that's how we change the world. Ending with influence, right?
Yeah.
You change the world. You got a good attitude. If you're having a hard day, talk to somebody that
Yeah.
can help you through it. Simple as that. If you're having a good day, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it. Even online, like me and Michelle talk. I like a lot of things. I don't do it just like I like just lots of things because I just want to like some things, right? I
Yeah.
don't like things I don't like that are horrible, right?
Yeah.
But but we have the ability to be kind. And that I think there is a shift coming.
Oh,
I think
100%.
I
Yep.
think in the world, this
Thank you.
manipulation of information, this fake news,
Yep.
um, we're having a shift. I feel it, right? I feel like there'll still be bad information out there, right?
Yep.
But I think we're gonna. I think I think this heaviness, even coming through COVID, this like fear is kind of moving away. I think the economy coming back, taxes going down, like our tax rates, all these little things takes the pressure off, right? Then we feel like, hey, I can go buy some apples this week, or I can,
Yeah, or the expense of apples or
yeah,
whatever, right?
or go out for dinner. We never do,
Yeah,
right? And
that's right.
so and that helps. By the way, that helps the economy. So it's this wonderful
The
circle, right?
cycle.
But
Exactly.
we live in fear, or we used to live in fear, and some of us, have gotten through that. So I do think the influence of I think people are now more aware. We've always been aware, but we didn't want to look at it. We're more aware of the people at the top of the chain, people
Yeah,
like Musk and other ones like him. If you don't like him, find somebody else. There's people
sure.
like that they want to they want to take what they've made. They don't need trillions of dollars, and they want to invest. That
Right.
Chinese guy, this AI thing, the Chinese guy that Trump told them to give more money, but they're doing this kind of AI thing. I'm nervous about AI, but I understand I just hope they do it well, where all of a sudden it's not like, oh, taking over the world, right? But
Right.
we're starting to see things about working together, like let's for common good, right? And I think,
Exactly. Yeah.
and my son and our kids, when they're younger, your grandkids, my grandkids, I'm hoping that within the next couple of years, that this stress of the earth,
Yeah.
the fire, I'm going to end up with this, and you can finish it. The fires in here's one of the saddest things: the fires in LA. So fires in LA, like BC and Alberta, by the way, we have bad fire seasons. We have hot, we have kindling can happen, lightning strikes.
Yeah.
We've had towns not like LA's having, right?
Right.
Here's one of the sad things in LA, because this is to do with politics and not caring about people. Politicians are doing their job. What you said, the one thing about firefighters, and that. The other thing is they didn't invest in keeping the reservoirs full.
Yep.
So they, because it would cost money to do that, they'd rather spend money on like whatever city, whatever,
Jasper,
right?
same thing. They didn't clear the bush around the town.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And so BC, we're getting the government's a little better, say, hey, we can't like afford to, it's too expensive, right? So LA, which is incredibly sad, um, whatever, like it's sad. I mean, some of the places that are going up, like Malibu, that these are all the people that have gazillions of dollars. It's still sad to lose your house. There's still like this trauma, right?
100%.
But maybe that helps us do the right thing, right? Become encouraged to be share our wealth. The other thing I say about Ethan, we talk about not communism, we talk about what's the one that's one step above that, socialism.
Mm,
And I don't want to put my view on that, but the concept I understand. It
right.
just has never worked. The concept say, hey, why don't we all be equal? I
Right.
understand it. Problem is the people that say that at the top and through history have never been equal. The czars
No.
in Russia,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And it's so funny because from every different kind of system, there is some good. It's
Yeah,
like, and I'm just using this for an example. When you look at a cult, right? Like
yeah,
these spiritual leaders, and
yeah,
they always start out good, and then they turn a dark corner and they start like sleeping with the wives or something. But it's like at the beginning, the foundation's always beautiful. Accept
yeah,
you as you are. Everybody love each other. Be part of these communities again before they start taking all their money and working them 16 hours. But that
yeah,
there's always something like even like all of them there's some core thing, but then somebody swoops in and makes it devious or adds that one thing. But I think 2020 2025 is going to be the year that the curtain goes back and we see the truth. I really believe that. And I
Yeah,
see a lot of it specifically last couple weeks because all these things are coming to light. And
yeah,
when you like, and again, I don't watch program television, if you will. Um, but I only had one and two. Do you see that? But I do see on alternate media that I watch,
yeah,
people they're like they're feeling duped, or the truth is coming out on different things, noticing certain people got pardons that
yeah,
that's weird. They've never had a crime. Does that lead you to believe is coming? So that, I mean, it's terrible. I feel good on my decisions I made personally,
yeah,
but I think that veil dropping, that's
yeah,
where things are going to get shooken up, and it's exciting. I love it.
yeah. And I'm willing, again, talk to my son, I'm willing to be wrong because he goes, Dad, like you're pretty smart, but if you're ever wrong, I said I'm wrong lots of times.
Oh, Alec
But
tells me I'm wrong all the time.
but the core thing, this is why I think it's important to be kind.
Right.
I think like Mother Teresa, right? For leaving religion, whatever. The fact that she felt this in her that I'm going to go the poorest of the poor, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. Being in that situation would be overwhelming for me. But if
Yeah.
I felt to do it, I could do it. So
Right.
us, we feel to do this, so we can do it, right? But they're talking about cults. So on Netflix,
Yeah.
I was there. The Jimmy Jones one
Yeah.
was um, hard to watch,
Yeah.
but it was just it was brutal, right?
Yeah.
And the one that was on Netflix, there's been a few, like it's like Narcos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can get like kind of tell you a story, kind of true but not true, right?
Yeah.
But this one here was probably the best one I saw, and it was actual photograph, documentary, live video, right?
Yeah.
And even to think about how people of power have over us, right?
That's right.
Um, how do we get to the point? What is it? What's in our DNA where where we throw caution to the wind? Like if you're in a sitting like that, and me and you, in anything like that, I don't care what it is. I don't care if the Pope was there, whatever, right? I'm not a Pope, but anyways, how am I going to drink? How am I going to be so persuaded to drink poison?
But if you believe that the world's coming to the end, and it's
But
gradual and it's over time. Look at the Manson girls. Look at like
yeah,
all the different people over time. It's
but
it
it's control. But
Yeah,
you're right. So what happens is, and
Waco,
the interesting about the
Texas.
Jimmy Jones thing
Yeah,
was the next town away. His son was there doing whatever their little community was called, right? And so his son didn't die. And after this fact, the things are interviewing him, and he's like, he's devastated
of course.
because because like to whatever degree that you feel like you're going to get rewarded or whatever by getting people, and I know there's a religious component of that, so leave that.
Yeah.
Charles Manson followed all that stuff too, horrible, but they were just believing what they were hearing or
Well,
whatever
it's
influence,
their
right?
whole environment, right?
So
Yeah.
but to leave it is this is this year, fine for everybody who watches this later is on, take a check of yourself saying, okay, like encourage yourself, go, man, like this is gonna be a good year, pump yourself up like we talked about. Like
Yeah.
no, it's not a fake thing, but just go, man, like I can do this. But I want to encourage you is and share with us because it's encouraging. Find a way to share your good energy, your
Yes.
kindness. Find a way to do it. Like when Michelle and Nicole went across the country, she didn't look at what would stop her from doing it. She just knew to do it.
Right.
And it wasn't easy.
No. Faith.
When I drove across the country, it
Yeah.
wasn't easy,
Yeah.
but I knew I was supposed to do it. And I actually thought I was doing it for others, but you know what I realized? It was my journey
That's
of
right.
seeing Canada and seeing nature and what man has done. I don't have any like some weird stuff, but I had so many what I call revelations, like awakenings and stuff. And that's the other thing too. Freebie, another one too, by the way. Close your eyes sometimes and be open to hear something that's beyond your what you think you know, right? So this is the dreaming thing. This is kind of a dreaming thing, right? So what you do, and you do this, like we could do this with meditation, all that, but in it, like I was reading this book, Michelle, and it says like where we like all of our senses operating our most predominant sense is our vision. Our vision is primary over everything else. So when we close our eyes and just take some time and maybe listen, maybe be more aware of it. There's these things that will come to our mind, and they're not like nothing with some weird like bad stuff in the back, but it's learning how to dream again. And there was this thing I read just a little while ago. It says we are so desensitized, but we don't know how to dream. We don't know how to dream. We don't know how to dream for fun.
Exactly, because we're out of practice. Because two
Yeah.
things, we're so distracted by everything going on, right? That we're hamsters on the wheel. We're running our program, and then sort of to deviate, when we have a lot of fluoride, it affects our pineal gland, and that affects our dreaming and all sorts of other things as well. So, time,
What gland was that?
the pineal gland, it's important. It's in your head. You have one.
Punch me.
Yeah, and it's probably all caked with fluoride. But um, you're exactly right. So I think, taking that time to do something to sort of get in that zone
Yep.
so that you're making yourself a priority. That's one of the good things about my whole Facebook fiasco. I've had
Yep.
to do something else. I'm not on here half as much. My meditation page is down. Oh my word. A whole bunch of things are down. So I'm just, yeah, I go on to my 88 friends and swipe and I'm done. So for anybody wants to be my friend again,
Yeah.
but
The
I check
10,000 you lost.
every day, but send me a request. But it's true. I mean, I've learned some good lessons,
Yeah.
maybe, right? That reining it in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's so interesting, right? But we have more power than we think. And, when that stinking thinking's getting the best of you, then
Yeah.
go work on your craft, go watch one of these shows. Going back to, and I know we're way over, I'm so sorry.
Two
Going
hours.
to Zac Efron, what you said, like, I think he gets paid very well, but I think it's more of what you just touched on. I think he's very blessed with all his money, and he's lucky enough because he's got the scuba diving buddy, right? That's a big part of some of the episodes. So that's his friend. He's traveled around. And then his thinking, and this is, I'm just speculating, is there's so many people that don't realize what's happening outside of the USA that they have no idea. I want to show them that. I want to show them there's more than the rat race, right? There's so much more than, just being working that program every day. And it doesn't mean like it sounds negative, but it's negative, but it also got us to where we are. I had to work that program for the last 40 years, or I
Yep.
wouldn't be in a house with heat and my relationship and whatever. So it has its value, but we don't need a 24-hour program. We could have the program that finances you. And then the rest of the time, yeah, if you don't want to do the dishes, you want to go read a book, don't do the dishes, go read a book. It's okay. You don't
Yeah.
have to answer the door, right? If somebody shows up or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of it, I'll end with this because me and
Yeah, we
you,
got,
we're good, right?
yeah, I need a
But
drink.
people, you're pretty fortunate we're not charging you for this information. No, we're joking. Um, but here's the thing. So this is a step up. So this is like I need to go back to the gym. I haven't been for a while. I've had issues with my wrist and stuff. Anyways, but it's like people go to the gym, do you want like the beginner's class or intermediate, whatever, right? So here's finishing on Zac Efron and stuff like that. So I want to leave aside, what Michelle can afford to do and I can afford to do and Zac can afford to do and Joe can afford to do and all that. So because the reality is this is it for me. That's it for Michelle, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to grow, you want to like step up from beginner to intermediate, find people outside of your circle. I don't know how you do it. Maybe you do it online, maybe not. Ask people about their story. Ask people just, and you can share bits of yours. Ask people, say, hey, I'm curious. And sometimes we have a lot of friends that are just like, and me and Michelle have lots of connection with people, but we become better. And then we're giving value to people to say, hey, like, tell me about yourself. The girl that cuts my hair, I need a haircut probably at some point. It looks weird here. Anyways, she's Filipino. She's here on a work visa with 5 other Filipino girls, right? And they've been sponsored by Tommy Gunn hair cutting place. And it's not the cheapest, not the most expensive, but you know what? I go there, I sit in a chair. She's like the bartender principal.
Yeah, here's all your, yeah.
Yeah, and then, so instead of me just burdening her with all my stuff, because you're trained to, hey, how's your day going with them, right?
Yeah.
So I've learned more about her and some of her culture, but being here and her family's back home and they want to send money back home. And that's not my life experience. And so I'm encouraged by it, right?
Yeah.
I just met a guy that did 10 years in jail, right? Manslaughter, drug induced thing at a party with some friends and got into a fight and killed a friend, right?
Yeah,
And
that's it.
10
Wow.
years. And so I said, like, I know him through different, so I said,
Yeah.
took him on for coffee. I said, so tell me your story. And of course I say, hey, I've been in jail, so whatever. So, but I mentioned, tell me your story. Tell me from wherever you want to start. And it's not about the jail. Tell me about your story. Because it's interesting what we tell each other, right? Because he may tell me this story, and the next time he tells a story, there may be 10% change because now he remembers this, or this is more
for
important.
sure.
But we become better people when we learn to, first of all, you give value to somebody, but you're learning. That's how we become life learners, right? We learn through each other, then we start caring about people. Then we care more about people, right?
Right.
So, anyways, that's my freebie. It's free today only.
Oh,
It's free. It's free
there you
for
go.
the price of $9.99.
I heard a great quote from Jordan Peterson recently, and
Okay.
he said, it's okay to judge, just don't condemn them. And I thought, I really like that one because we always say, oh, not judging, not judging, but we need to judge the process, right?
Yeah.
But we have to not condemn them. That I found was very powerful. That's a
Yeah,
good
that's a
quote
good
to
one.
leave on. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So we're
All right.
good.
Yeah, I think we're great. So everybody will do it again next week. I had to re-enter all the information today. So I was a little bit late at the beginning. So if we're a little bit late next week until I get all this figured out, then please be patient. We will be with you shortly. I'll put it in every stinking week if I have to, just to be back here. So
Yeah.
everybody have a great one. Thanks for joining. We'll see you again.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.